A little over a week ago, Wairoa found itself a community cut off from the rest of New Zealand.
Cyclone Gabrielle tore through and there were floodwaters all over the place, silt and mud everywhere. And today, we're going to show you some of those stories.
And we start today with Brother Dennis. He was looking after a small chapel. It's called St. Teresa's. And the scale of the mess, even for a building that was locked up from the elements, supposedly, it beggars belief. Have a look.
I could see water running down. I wasn't dressed to wade, so I went home to change. When I came back, the water was like up to the knees, and I didn't go. But at that time, his nephew had been working at the works, and he came straight down, and he picked them up, and he came out in virtually waist-deep water. Mm-hmm. And it was all probably in half an hour, less than half an hour. The speed of it just picked up. And so our fence here, it was picked up, and it just dumped across the road. The whole thing, one big piece out. Yep. The front wire gate was somewhere across in the paddock.
And you said too, one of the most remarkable things is that it wasn't like there were any windows or doors open. Everything so it seems to just...
Through the walls. It's just, I can't understand how all the mud, and got into everything. Inside cupboards, into the sacristy. There was a couple of suitcases of pew all carefully packed away. It got inside all that, it got silt all through that, everything. It's absolutely pervasive.
And so I'd like to believe you're not the only person cleaning this place up, right?
No.
Tell me about what the cleanup effort involves here.
No, we've had one Mormon family who used to live across here in the early days and knew the old people here. He came down straight away. He was okay. Came down with his family, and they spent half a day in here. Then another different ones have all come in and given about half a day or a day. A family came down from Gisborne yesterday with all the family and brought a whole lot of gear and helped shovel and trying to clear. One of the things we're asked to do before the diggers come in is to actually move all the mud off the concrete. So when the blade comes in, it doesn't dig up the concrete. Right. So they were digging in slurry.
And so the marae next door as well, is
right
that...
Through.
Yep.
Right through. The mattresses are on the ground stacked on the edge. They're all wiped. The ones stacked on top are okay.
And so for you now then, what is the plan moving forward? Is there, say there's more aid on the way, or who's been in touch?
We've got to kind of get insurance assessors. We haven't been assessed as to whether they're going to yellow sticker or red sticker the place. All that, they'll be busy doing houses. That's the priority at the moment. People not actually living here, so this will be way down the track.
And what about the congregation?
Well, a lot of the ones who have come here, all their homes have gone too.
Wow.
So they're all in the same boat. There's a few on the other side, they're okay, but a lot of them. One of our ladies, just the next house here, she went down to Hastings for the weekend and of course couldn't get back. She's got a split level house. The lower level I see is mud right through it, and the top level is okay. I've been trying to contact her to find out if anyone's family's got a key here to get the army, and apparently the army are helping clean places out. But she's stuck down there and won't be able to get back here. I don't know how she's going to get back.
Well, I was speaking to Brother Dennis. Mire was across the road making some friends.
I was. So I did pop across the road, beautiful looking house, went over and said hello to the lovely family there. And they were sharing with me their experience of that morning. And my goodness, I mean, you can kind of see that, there's mud and slush and stuff everywhere. But they shared with us some of their footage because their house was surrounded by what they called a tsunami. So take a look at some of their videos.
This all water gets drained out by the river across the bridge.
You see in these spots where it's still rushing, the water's still coming down really fast.
It's bloody day, Isla.
All the beehives are gone. Still fine at the moment.
One of the many remarkable things that starts to unfold when you talk to the locals about their experience of the flooding was just how localised it was. You might have seen pictures of floodwaters completely encircling houses, and yet on the other side of the river, you wouldn't think anything had happened at all.
But here we are in a street that was one of the worst hit, and this morning I got around and chatted with a few of the residents. So this is your house?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a mess, can I say? Is that impolite?
Nah, well, you say whatever you want. It's as good as it's going to get, I suppose.
In all honesty, we have actually managed to fare a little bit better than most.
Really?
We're lucky. Our house is solid concrete. These are old railway houses. And we've got native timber flooring, so it hasn't warped or soaked up too much moisture. So yeah, we're a lot lucky. We got out. Our animals got out.
This side of our road, one car was already gone, so we couldn't use that one, but we just managed to get the truck out.
And when you say the car was gone, what do you mean by that? It had floated down the street, or?
It was already flooded.
It was a submarine.
Yeah, it was already submerged.
So was it frightening for you?
Yeah. I think I might have yelled at my son a bit loud.
Oh, terrifying. I think I swore at a few cops actually on my way down here because they said I couldn't come, and I just, you can't tell me that I'm not going to go and save my brother and my animals.
But it was good that we had lovely neighbours who looked out for us, especially the lady down there. She woke us up. If she hadn't woke us up, we would have slept through it.
Have you ever seen anything like this before?
Oh, on TV, but not in real experience.
But we've had such support from our people in our community, and these people, Pride Contracting, had just gone and pulled all the mud and slush from the back of our section, and it would have taken us months and months and months to shovel that out.
So we're cleaning up all the soot inside the houses, taking all the rubbish away, the old bros on the trucks. Got a few of our mates with their diggers, because everyone's pitched in.
It's the Kiwi way. We carry on. We'll just chip in, help our neighbours out. We've got a really good neighbourhood, so everybody just helps everybody out.
Sorry you have to deal with all this devastation. It's terrible, isn't it?
Oh, well, it happens. Can't do anything about it.
Mother Nature has its own call.
You have to have a sense of humour, because if you let it get to you too much, nothing's going to get done.
I want to say a big thank you to all the community who are bringing food around for everybody about 4 times a day. And I would especially too like to thank my sister Tina and Wayne Tiamo, who have taken our big family into their home and looked after us.
That's fantastic.
And thank you guys for being here. Because you guys are doing a beautiful job. My God, we're all watching the news and everything. It keeps all our family that can't be here updated. So thank you.
So how do you think you would feel if you were in the position of some of these people in Wairoa? Your home has been destroyed, your possessions have been swept away. How would you be feeling? Well, if you answered, I'd feel grateful and joyful, surprisingly enough, you'd be absolutely correct.
Yeah, when I was chatting with some of the residents in the street earlier today, I just couldn't believe how jovial they all were. They just had this kind of mark in, we can do this kind of attitude. And there's one lady in particular, and she was just so grateful for this digger that's behind us here, digging out their driveway, getting all that muck and silt off. She said it would have taken hours if they had to do it themselves. So they're just so grateful.
And of course, we knew that this story was being replicated again and again and again through the different streets around Wairoa. And so what of the wider response when we look at the civic responses, but then also at the local marae where food packages were being prepared? We got a chance to talk to Mire and hear her unlikely story of how she became involved in the relief effort. So we're here in Wairoa right now and meeting some of the local heroes that are making the relief effort possible. And incredible to meet Maria just now. Now, Maria, you were just telling me you're not even from this area, you're from Whangarei.
Yeah, yes I am.
How did you find yourself here?
My husband's actually from here, and this is our marae hinamihi. As you can see, we've been taking container loads of things, distributing them. We put out about 600 plus meals a day to go out to them. We've got drivers and that are helping out. All the whānau just got together. Like you can see, they're doing plates up so they can go out for lunch and that.
I know a lot of people would be watching and wondering, how can we pray for you guys? Is there anything that comes to mind for you? How could we be praying for you?
Yeah, it's only just begun. A lot of houses now have been cleaned out, but they've still got to be cleaned out underneath. Boards have to come off so they can dry. We've got to get the floors dry and that. We've got a lot of houses yellow stickered, but they could go to red. So it's a watch and wait game, yeah.
Now, after speaking with Mire, you might be surprised to know that there was one person in particular who was incensed that we would want to speak to them before any of the volunteers, but that was the mayor himself, Craig Little.
Yeah, and can I just say that while you were talking to Craig, I was chatting with a few other people on the marae, and they had nothing but positive things to say about the mayor. They absolutely loved him.
And it's easy to understand why. He really insisted that the focus and attention go on to the local people, the volunteers who were helping to make this happen, who had been working non-stop for over a week. I'm with Wairoa Mayor Craig Little, and Craig, you've seen some incredible response from your people. Tell me about how they're getting involved to try and meet the needs around the community.
Yeah, okay, so out of devastation, this comes, and this is what Wairoa's all about. These people here, it's just word of mouth, and we spoke down Hinamihi. It's a great marae. It's probably a long way, but it's dry, it's got everything here, it's safe, it's clean. They are just working from 5, 6 in the morning right through to 8 at night, and just feeding those people who are digging out houses, and they're feeding the people in the houses who have lost everything. Honestly, being a mayor is easy in this town because it's people like that make the mayor's job easy, and I'm just part of the machine that makes this happen.
I know you were very keen to make sure people know this is not about what the mayor is doing, this is really what the people are doing, and I've seen actually firsthand you basically just been, hey, tell me where I need to be, what do I need to do to help out?
Yep, that's exactly right. So every day I try and get out and now and just go and talk to people. It's just devastation down there, mate. And our focus, we're getting if I can ask, we've got a mayoral relief fund, we've got to give a little page. We need money because that money is not going on roading for council, it's going to get these people back on their feet. And on that means their houses are destroyed, everything out on the floor's gone, kitchens, fridges, washing machines, table and chairs, beds. And so we started only couple of days ago. We're up to about 26, 27,000 now. So, and it's just, the love out there, the araha is just amazing. And that's generosity of our iwis, of some of our businesses. But iwi are leading the way in this at the moment. They are here for everybody. My God, we're blessed in this community.
What are the needs in terms of the wider needs of the Wairoa community? Obviously, the Give a Little will help people autonomously look after themselves, hopefully buy the things they need to get back into their homes. But in terms of the wider needs that still exist here, let everybody know what still needs to come your way to alleviate some of the suffering that's happening here.
Yeah, okay. So look, army, police, fire, ambulance, they're well and truly on the ground. We're very blessed. Army, when people see army, they relax. When people see police, they relax. Well, most of the time they relax. But honestly, it's really good. And so what we need is we've got heaps of food coming in. We've got food. People just text me every day, every moment of the day. Hey, what can we do? Where can we bring it? I'm saying now we've got enough food. If it's non-perishable, great. But for me, it's about money now, and we need that money to recover. And like I say, it's not the road. We're still going to need a hell of a lot of money to fix roads, but that's where the government must come in. Because we can't, Napier could be out for months and months and months. At least we can get to Portiki and eventually State Highway 38 up to Rotorua, Waikaremoana should be open. But we were just alone, mate. When it happened, we just felt like an isolated community.
Just give me a sense of that isolation as well, because I think it took a little while for the rest of the country to realise how cut off you were. What was that like for you? Did it feel like you were kind of screaming into the void? What's going on?
It was horrible, actually, because one of our neighbours had, got his TV going, we're watching, and they're going, there's Wairoa, Gisborne, Hawke's Bay, Auckland, everywhere. But there's nothing about Wairoa. And then finally I got out through a little text through local government CE, Susan Freeman Green. I said, you need to text the Prime Minister, you need to text the Minister, you need to talk to Whakatane, get the road open. She did that. And then all of a sudden we could see things and people started coming. But if it wasn't for the Army and all their gear that we need, and the magic one, Starlink. Never heard of it before. You put this little box on the ground and you can go up to the satellite, and we had communications that was like hallelujah. And we had so many people frantic because their lost ones were dead, or thinking that, but because they couldn't get hold of them, and that was the only reason. Then it took a few days, and then yesterday was a hallelujah moment. I took many calls, many texts, and I said to the people, "You're the first guys I've talked to because I haven't had reliable texts. No one had." So it's just been really hard on everybody. But look, the hardness. Look at it. They're all out here. They're all probably suffering too, and one way or the other, a lot of families are connected in this town.
Well, Craig, thank you for letting us know about the need. And as you said too, the Give a Little, if you do search for Wairoa, you'll be able to find it. And let's get the money that these guys need to rebuild.
Hey, I just love you guys for coming to Wairoa and sharing our story, so thank you. But like I say, these are the real people out here. The Mayor just is the Mayor. Thank you so much.
Well, while Andrew was chatting with the Mayor, Craig Little, I was having a little bit of a wander around the marae, and I ended up chatting with Steve, who was on the barbecue, and man, big barbecues and tons of sausages on there, and it was pretty cool to see that they were just working so hard to make sure that their community is looked after and fed. Amazing.
And so, to step things out a little bit further, I also had the opportunity to speak to Meka Whaitiri. She is the Māori MP for the whole East Coast. So it's the Ikaroa Rāwhiti seat. That's everywhere from Gisborne all the way down through Hastings, and had an opportunity to understand how the response was being coordinated on a governmental level, and of course where she saw the greater need heading into the days, weeks and months that are sure to follow. So I'm here with Meka Whaitiri. She is the local area MP, and heck of a last week for you. Tell me what's been happening.
Yeah, very little sleep, so I am the MP for Ikaroa Rāwhiti, so my electorate goes the entire east coast of Tairāwhiti, here in Wairoa, Hawke's Bay, Central Hawke's Bay, Wairarapa and all the way to Waniamata. So it's a big Māori electorate, and of course we've borne the brunt. And really it's just been a devastating event these last 7 days. It's going to take weeks, if not months, to recover, and right now I'm still focusing on the welfare of people. I think the biggest challenge is not having communications. So when you can't communicate with people, and many of this area is rural, then you're going to think the worst. But, I'm hearing all sorts of stories that there were no alarms here in Wairoa for people to evacuate their homes.
No flood alarms?
No flood alarms whatsoever. The power went down, so the digital phones, they couldn't ring 111. So we had a lady, Michelle, in there who actually jumped in her car at 6 a.m. Tuesday morning, tooting out to all her neighbours to get out of their house. That's how they got saved. Now, in a time in 2023 when we've got modern technology, it doesn't meet the needs of rural communities, and Wairoa has just demonstrated from my visit today is that there is a clear example of phones not working, communications down, and people are self-evacuating.
But tell me about Hawke's Bay. Tell me about what you've seen there.
Yeah, again, just pretty much what I just saw when I landed here is silt, rivers rising and completely smashing out particularly horticultural crops, so all the orchards up Miane, up Puketapu and Estelle, around Wairoa, just absolutely gone. So the river's rising, flooding out, and they're about to pick apples. So Napier side, absolute devastation. And if you think about Hawke's Bay, that is one of our biggest, if not the biggest industry. It employs many of our people, is the horticulture area. It keeps our port going. So without our apple industry, again, we're looking at economic challenges in Hawke's Bay, to put it lightly. But on top of that, the devastation in homes, so around Wairoa, Omahu, the maraes and whatnot. But despite all this devastation, and the road ahead of us is going to be long, just the kindness and the support of communities like these communities here rallying together to ensure food and supplies and the essentials like petrol, particularly to keep generators going in rural areas, are going out. So big ups to our Defence Force, our civil defence people and our local communities are just coming together and working hard.
What can we expect in terms of the mental health response to helping people through this time as the days, weeks and months unfold?
So we're obviously talking to Whatu Ora and to the Minister of Health to ensure that we've got that support in place, and everything's a time, and trying to keep ahead an overview across my electorate, because Tairawhiti has their unique challenges and their unique responses, as you'll see here in Wairoa, as in Hawke's Bay, Central Hawke's Bay, and even down to Wairarapa. So working with those on the ground that know their communities the best is my first start, and we thank NEMA for stepping in because it is a national emergency, but sometimes the national response needs to be plugged into the people that know their communities, know where the needs are, and more importantly can respond quickly. So there's going to be a lot of work ahead of us, and you know, the positivity, you need that. I've had people cry explaining their situation, and you've just got to take the time and give them a big hug and say we'll get through this, and that's what we've been doing as well.
Yeah, we were speaking to one of the pastors in Tairawhiti, Norm McLeod, and he was saying how he was told once it was the 3 Ks that were the most important thing. It was kai, it was kōrero, and karakia.
Totally, and I agree with that minister up there, and that's what's happening around, particularly the Māori relief effort and the maraes that I've seen that open themselves up as welfare centres and taking many of our people, particularly in Hawke's Bay, Waipatu marae, and of course all Te Aranga marae and Flaxmere, and of course you've got the marae here doing their bit, because most of the devastation is on North Clyde, which is this side, the Tairawhiti side of the Wairoa Bridge. The need is really real here, and you've seen in the homes, and I've seen in the homes, and many of these families, as I've had in the Māori communities down in Hawke's Bay, won't necessarily have insurance on their homes, won't have necessary insurance on their contents. They're the ones that will need a lot of support as we go forward, and that's what I'm getting reminded sitting here with the Mayor of Wairoa and the Deputy Mayor, Denise Eagleson.
Yeah, because there is that risk, of course, of those families being further displaced, right? That they cannot go back into their homes, and of course not having insurance may mean, for some, may have to move away or something like that, which can push the problem further down the road. Or what do you see as being the ongoing challenge there?
The long-term plans have to be around adaptation, mitigation, as officials, as elected officials, to think in the long term, how do we create safe communities? Priority is people's welfare, making sure that they're warm, dry and getting food. Then we've got to look at the housing situation, because a lot will be displaced, and so we've got to look at housing solutions, and then we've got to look at how do we get them back into their jobs, if their jobs have been washed out, or for the horticulture family down in Hawke's Bay, or the panpack family who can't go to work, how are we going to meet their wage bill so they can keep their families going? So there's a lot of balls up in the air. My biggest thing is keep communicating to people about what's being done, be clear on what stage we are, and give hope to people, and that's what I'm doing by my visit up here.
Well, look, I want to let you get back to it in just a moment, but the last question from me will be for those individuals who are watching from home right now and wanting to know in what ways that they can help, and for our audience as well, a largely Christian audience, always want to know if there's anything they can pray for you guys as well. So I don't know what comes to mind for you there, but what needs can we meet either naturally or even spiritually for people? What comes to mind?
Well, as a Christian myself, say thank you very much to your audience for the prayers and the aroha that you are sending. It's well received. The physical need, obviously, here in Wairoa, large machinery, because we need a massive clean-up. And I know the road from Wairoa to Gisborne is open, but you can't come south, so the road's open. Financial donations, and I'm sure the council here has a relief fund. I know Hawke's Bay has a relief fund down there, but for Wairoa, big machinery and people that can operate machinery to help with the clean-up. Tradies, got any carpenters out there who can spare some time? Plumbers, please come into Wairoa. They would really appreciate the support to get some of these homes that are salvageable to living standards, and that's what I would ask your audience and say thank you in advance.
All right. Well, Mecca, thank you so much, and I'll let you get back to work. There's a lot of work still to do.
Thank you, Andrew. All the best.
And so after all these discussions, let's remember on a personal level, there are still so many ways that we can respond. And of course, the number one that we can all do, no matter what your circumstances are, is to pray.
Absolutely. And you can give as well. If you're in a position where you can financially give, we have a Cyclone Relief Fund on our website. You can head to rema.co.nz, because boy, is that needed at the moment.
And you would have also heard the Mayor, Craig Little, talk about the Give a Little that's been set up for the Wairoa area. That is really about helping getting people back into their homes. It's not just about the civil needs of repairing roads and so on, but you can also give towards that. If you head along to Give a Little and search for Wairoa, you will find that page there.